So you guys have probably been hearing a lot about Dahvie Vanity, the front man. Yes, this is a man of blood on the dance floor. I never had MySpace, so I was never into this kind of thing. One of my friends in secondary school, or elementary school, really enjoyed this band and showed me a couple of their songs, and I was like, what am I listening to? My ex-boyfriend had a shrine to them. Yes. This was an 18-year-old with a framed t-shirt, pictures of him meeting the band, and other merchandise on their wall. So whenever I visited, I would look up to my left and see a massive picture of Dahvie Vanity looking at me while I slept. That relationship only lasted 4 months, and I have a feeling that had something to do with it. It was worse because, at least in secondary school, the rumours weren't as popularised, but looking up to see a child, it didn't sit well with me. And these rumours aren't really just rumours. They're allegations now. Allegations with quite a bit of evidence. I, for legal reasons, can't make definitive claims, but you see what I'm saying. A few months ago, one of the founding pair of Blood of the Dance Floor, Jay, decided to leave and left a statement, which I will link in full down below, but there are some things I want to concentrate on in this statement. In this statement, he claims that Dahvie insisted they continue to produce their overly offensive and raunchy material towards their target fan base. And as Jay joined when he was 18, he didn't feel too bad about this, but as he got older, he says, and I quote, like a pervert singing these songs to kids. He also reveals that he wasn't paid, and instead there was some kind of, quote, weird daddy relationship between them where Dahvie would act as a caretaker. He said he also felt manipulated to dislike people who called Dahvie out. Got even worse for Jay when he was diagnosed HIV positive and felt that he wasn't up to touring because he was HIV positive and needed treatment. Did Dahvie put the tour on hold so that his bandmate could go and seek the medical attention he needed? No. He said it would have to wait until after the tour. Because of the debt Dahvie was already in, they had to charge an enormous amount for VIP meet and greets. However, they were either mostly late, and also Dahvie would rush them because he had to go and meet a girl. Recently, Dahvie has opted to continue to tour as Blood on the Dance Floor, using Jay's face and name to promote merchandise that he never had a part in making, or to promote music he also never had a part in making. He's going on stage saying that he's performing in Jay's honour, which is a blatant use of his illness, trying to capitalise on it because he didn't care much about Jay's illness while it was actually at its worst. The insanely gorgeous Ashley Costello from New Year's Day had a few things to say about Dahvie, but some of the most gruesome details actually come from their merch guy, who made a post on Dahvie after New Year's Day toured with Blood on the Dance Floor. These are only a few sections of the full blog post, but I will link it in the description. Reportedly, Dahvie choked Ashley, flipped her off after a song, called her a and then said to her as she was walking off, if you want to make it in Hollywood, you gotta suck this, use. He put his arms around her neck on stage. While on stage, he pointed at her and two other ladies from another band who were sat at the back of the venue and said, they are so hot, I would fuck the shit out of all three of them. He went after a girl who had a boyfriend and rejected him. He made the crowd chant band. He asked her in front of 1,000 people, how does my taste, slut? When she replied with, gross, he hit her over the head with the microphone. He put his head between Ash's legs while performing and kissed her hips. These are just a few of the things Ash Costello had to put up with Dahvie so she could tour and see her fans. She even dislocated her leg at one point, and even though she was wearing a brace, Dahvie would continue to pull her roughly on the stage. She also reported seeing and hearing Dahvie interact with young girls. The merch guy, Daniel, actually had somebody come up to him after a show looking for their little sister. He was worried and started to look around as well. He asked around, and somebody from the Blood on the Dance Floor crew blurted out, "Yeah, she's on the bus, Dahvie." Same year as Ash Costello came out with her experiences in 2012, Jeffree Star also came out with what he saw while on tour. "I'm gonna speak the truth till I die. We saw at BOTDF Music Dahvie bring underage girls to his hotel rooms to do things. 100% illegal." I'll keep the full screenshot thread on screen. He basically goes on to say how disgusting that Dahvie is, and rightly so. And then, of course, there are the fans, the most vulnerable demographic when it comes to Dahvie's antics. Criminal antics. I can't say certain words, but you get what I mean. A girl named Ty communicated with Dahvie and he gave her the nickname My Little Schoolgirl. At one point they met up and went into his SUV where she thought they would drive to a different location, but instead Dahvie got out his and shoved her face onto it. Then there was Shay, who was 14, and she went to see Blood on the Dance Floor and wanted them to sign her shirt, but instead Dahvie grabbed her boobs. A few years later, she was sitting at the bar during a performance of Call Me Master and unwillingly became part of the show. Dahvie walked through the crowd with a girl on a leash. He walked over to my mother, who was sitting at the bar, and proceeded to pour a drink all over her shirt, and then tried to make out with her mother. Another story comes from a girl called Belle, who was 14 when she first met and started talking to him, but when she was 18, he picked her up and tried to kiss her. She revealed to him that she had previously been by an ex-boyfriend. Belle is quoted saying, "He genuinely seemed upset that happened to me. He told me that he hates people like that." But then he carried on making advances towards her and forced her to perform all on him. He started to tell me that that's just how BDSM is. Oh, well, wouldn't you know, we know someone else who uses BDSM as a justification for abuse, even though that's not what BDSM is. How funny. Another girl called Alice, who was 15, also had her own experience that included forced kissing and X. One of the creepier things in this story, beside the awful things he's done, is that he made her pinky promise, like a child. And she was a child, but pinky swears and pinky promises are things you tend to do with kids under the age of 10. As recently as 2016, allegations have come out about Dahvie. According to Kate, age 20, he forced again. Oral. All in all, Dahvie Vanity is a trash human being. He uses his fans in order to get gratification. He uses people he tours with gratification, and he uses his bandmates, despite their own declining health, to get money, and therefore tours, and therefore gratification. He will use people as tools to get what he wants, whether that's fame, money, or sex. Keep your kids away from him, keep your friends away from him, and stay away from him yourself, because in one way or another, you're going to get used up. He's trying to relaunch Blood on the Dance Floor. In order to do this, don't buy their merch, don't see their shows, don't listen to their music. You're not missing out on much anyway.